Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.
Five people lost their lives and 25 more were injured in a mass shooting that took place in the Colorado Springs gay nightclub, Club Q. Now, in this incident, it is alleged that 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich allegedly went into the club with a long gun and a pistol and immediately started shooting to participate in the mass murder of members of the alphabet community. And as he was participating in this mass shooting, before he wound up taking 5 lives and injuring over 25 others, individuals wound up tackling him and eventually subduing him. Now, the police see this mass shooting as an isolated incident of hate, but when I take a critical examination of your Anderson Lee Aldrich, he definitely fits the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it's clear that your Anderson Lee Aldrich was basically a ticking time bomb for an extended period of time and possibly had a real hate on for members of the alphabet community and a hate on for people in general. However, law enforcement didn't take his threat very seriously back in June of 2021 when he went out here and was menacing his mother by going out here and saying that he was going to blow up a homemade bomb and basically was terrorizing his mother at the residence she was renting a room in. And that should have been the red flag for law enforcement when your Anderson Lee Aldrich menaced his mother and threatened her with a homemade bomb, because your Anderson Lee Aldrich allegedly had an arsenal of weapons, and that was the time to take this man's weapons away under the standard of the red flag law that was presented to try to prevent mass shootings. Unfortunately, what I believe happened in this case is that because your Anderson Lee Aldrich is the grandson of a California politician and was a white male, he was basically given a pass to continue going on, and his grandfather and his mother possibly thought, oh, this is just one isolated incident, and he will just go on about his business from here and not get into any trouble. But what they didn't understand is that with many of these beta males are seething with anger, and that anger makes them simmer and boil with rage. And many of these males, because they're seething with anger and frustrated about their life, what they want to do is go out here and participate in an act where they can go out here and destroy the lives of others because they feel like their lives aren't going the way that they want. And because they feel like their lives aren't going the way that they want to go out here and destroy the lives of others while going out in infamy by going out here and participating in a violent event that will possibly get them the most attention from the media. So when I look at your Anderson Lee Aldrich's behavior, it fits the pattern and profile I've seen for multiple mass shooters that I have talked about over the years. And your Anderson Lee Aldrich basically was following the pattern to the letter that these mass shooters seem to be following to try to get their 5 seconds of infamy by going out here, bringing in the long gun and the pistol, and looking to go out here and participate in this wanton violence, hoping that they will get attention for themselves, because in many cases, these males just do not know how to function in the world, and because they do not know how to function in the world, these dysfunctional males, they go out here looking to destroy the world around them, because they do not know how to make things work. And in many cases, these males don't know how to make things work because they have not been taught proper male life skills, proper male survival skills, and because they do not know how to function like a man, they become a man in crisis. And this man in crisis is a ticking time bomb that it's not a matter of if this individual is going to go off and do harm, it's a matter of when. And while law enforcement managed to catch the fuse of that bomb when he threatened his mother with a homemade bomb that led to neighbors in surrounding homes to evacuate the home, and while they talked him into surrendering, what happened was that after this incident didn't get him the attention he wanted, and even though he got arrested, he wanted to go out here and go out in that blaze of glory. And that just shows how dangerously determined these beta males are and how dangerous they are to everybody around them. Because what happens with these individuals is that if they can't do harm one way, they find another. And this is why things like red flag laws and gun control laws can't stop these individuals, because what makes these individuals a problem from minute one is the dysfunctional way that these boys are raised here in America. And because most of these males are possibly raised in single mother households, I don't know if Anderson Lee Aldrich's home was a single mother home, because they say he threatened his mother, and that asks me asking the critical question, where is his father? Because it's clear to me that he didn't have a father in his life, possibly if he's out here making homemade bombs and not looking to go out here and build. Because beta males, because they don't know how to build, again, all they do is destroy, because they don't know how to go out here and build a life for themselves. Many of these men are frustrated and angry, and that's what leads to them going to echo chambers like many of these websites that promote homophobia and racism, and has them basically wound up to perpetrate violence. That's where a lot of these guys go, because they get no guidance from other men, and that's what leads also to them becoming these men in crisis. And these men in crisis go out here after they step into these internet echo chambers like your 4chans, like your 8chans, or supposedly, and these other websites. They go to these different websites looking for all of this information to hate different people, like members of the alphabet community, members of the black community, members of minority groups. They look to hate people, and they look to find information that demonizes and makes people look bad, and they look to do harm to others, all because they are angry about their station in life. But many of these men don't want to do the work to improve themselves, and some of them don't even know how to do the work to improve themselves, and that's what makes them a clear and present danger to everyone in this country, because we have, I say, 100 million of these men out here, and these men are like landmines after the pandemic, and it's not a matter of if they're going to explode, but when. And what it makes it scary out here is it's like you're walking on eggshells, because you don't know what's going to set one of these guys off, or how much damage they're going to do to people when they go off. So we have a real dangerous situation here in America with these beta males, but sadly nobody here in America wants to talk about these incidents. No, what we'll get in the case of this incident here that happened at this nightclub is people talking about gun violence, but not talking about the core foundation of what is causing these males to participate in these shooting sprees, and that is the dysfunctional way these boys have been raised to become men. And it's clear that the way these boys have been raised to become men is creating these ticking time bombs, but nobody wants to talk about that, because to talk about that is to hold women accountable for the way we raise and parent boys, and to go out here and realize that the Great Society of the 1960s and the feminist movement, which told us that a woman could raise a boy to become a man, has not raised boys to become men, but raised men who are in crisis. And as these men are in crisis, they're making America a less safe place to be, because they go out here looking to participate in these mass shootings. And what's even scarier about this is that as the ages of these mass shooters get younger and younger, their violence seems to be more pointed towards race and sexual orientation, and they seek to target people of race or sexual orientation to participate in their acts of violence, and that is one of the scarier parts about this. Now, the only blessing here is that even though 5 people lost their lives, this man was stopped by individuals who fought for their lives, and they managed to subdue the shooter before he could wind up taking more innocent lives, like what happened at the Pulse nightclub in Florida. And this individual has been detained by law enforcement, and as he's gone on in his rampage, he's gone from being a man in crisis to a man who's about to lose his freedom, to one who will definitely be winding up spending the rest of his life in prison if he's convicted. And there he will have to deal with Bubba and Tiny, who will be having him wash the skid mark out of their drawers with a toothbrush, and having them do all sorts of stuff as he goes out here and is traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, cups of coffee, 6-pack Oreo cookies, Kit Kat candy bars, and your packets of Crystal Light. That is what he's going to be working for as he's washing skid marks out of drawers for the rest of his life inside of the penitentiary. That's the final fate of this beta male who had all of this hatred for homosexuals, and that was his motive, I believe, for murder. He went into this club because he had this hatred for homosexuals, and because he had hatred for homosexuals, he wanted to go out here and do harm to them. And again, this is what beta males do. They find groups to try to blame for the problems in their lives, or they get hatred that they get indoctrinated into on the internet, and they look to use that as their motive for their mass shooting. And that's what happened here, that sadly wound up with many of the members of the alphabet community losing their lives because America just won't confront the man crisis in this country, a man crisis that gets worse with every day, a man crisis where we are seeing an increase in frequency of this violence. And instead of us confronting the roots of the problem, what we do is deny the problem, talk about guns, when the problem isn't the guns, the problem is the people who have the motive to kill other people because they are men in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about what motivates beta males to participate in this violence and what leads to them being dysfunctional, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on other online booksellers like Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.